Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new type of video where I take you across North America, maybe eventually across the world, to show you different sporting experiences, different types of sports, maybe sports that you've never even considered going to go watch. But today we're gonna start you off light with a little bit of good old American football. We have traveled to Fort Lauderdale. I initially thought it was in Miami, but nope, this is in Fort Lauderdale to watch the Bills versus the Miami Dolphins. So I'm gonna take you through Fort Lauderdale so that you can see the experience, what the beach is like, what the nightlife is like, and of course, I'm gonna show you the tailgate experience. We're gonna show you the game experience. I'm gonna show you what the stadium is like, what the merch is like. I'm gonna take you through the entire experience as if you are going through it yourself. So welcome, and I'll see you soon. Folks, for this experience, I'm not alone. I'm here with my buddy, Gavin. He's gonna be joining us. Say hello, dude.
What's going on?
It should be fun. I didn't want to do these trips by myself. They're always better when you have a friend, a significant other. So yeah, I'm taking Gavin along for the experience. Neither of us are Miami Dolphins or Bills fans. I think that's important to note. I'm a Chargers fan. Are you a fan of any NFL team in particular?
No, not in particular.
Not in particular, but I'm still excited to see what the Miami Dolphins fandom has to offer. Before I go, actually, let me show you the hotel view because we've got a pretty solid view. All right, have a gander. Your first look at Fort Lauderdale Beach. There's a nice strip that we're gonna go through where we're gonna look at bars. We already saw the Bills Mafia taking over this entire strip. We know that they're a very well-traveled fan base, so I'm hoping to maybe even get a couple of them on camera just to tell me like what the hell brought them all the way down here to Fort Lauderdale to chase their team, to play what isn't going to be the most exciting game, Bills versus Dolphins this season. But nonetheless, not a bad view. Check it out. So, oh, nice. Sexy bank. We're gonna hit up a bar. Gavin, you kind of know a little bit about this place. Where are we going?
Yeah, I'm the resident Florida man on this mission. We're heading to McSorley's Beach Bar in Fort Lauderdale.
McSorley's Beach Bar. I'll show you what it's like in there. And back there is where like all of the hecticness is, where the Bills Mafia, all the Dolphins fans are. So we'll go back there a little bit later in the evening, but we're gonna just relax, have a couple drinks, maybe some food, away from all of the crazy action right now. We went into McSorley's and the vibe was fantastic. The food was wonderful and it hit the spot after having spent the last like 5 hours traveling and dealing with a bunch of delays. I was hungry. Your boy needed that nourishment, and it was nice to do it in a nice venue as well. They also had a second floor with direct view into the ocean, which was nice. We ended up hopping over to a different pub called the Parrot, which wasn't too far away. One of the things that caught my eyes here was that the owner or bartenders were clearly big Eagles fans as well. And this is one of the few bars that I've seen with their own merch line. I couldn't buy anything because everything was size small, but here they had delicious shrimp tacos. I ended up eating like 7 of these bad boys. I'm telling you, I was hungry after all that traveling. So it's about like 5:30 p.m. One of my favorite things that used to be in my dating profiles when I was single was long walks on the beach. Gavin and I are on a nice, beautiful walk on the beach. If you do come to Fort Lauderdale to come watch a Miami Dolphins game, this is something that you got to do. You know, especially if you're nowhere near an ocean like I am, and near the Toronto area, like we have lakes kind of close to us, but this is something entirely different. It really is just so fresh, so nice, so unique. I know that if you're from Florida, this is probably like whatever, you experience this all the time, but for me, being by the ocean, feeling the ocean breeze, this is a unique experience to me. And if you're in the middle of the United States, in the middle of Canada, maybe you're flying over from Europe, just experience this breeze, experience this moment, experience this peacefulness, this zenness. I'm telling you, it's worth it. So just take a stroll on the beach when you're in Fort Lauderdale. And of course, a huge thank you to our sponsor, Bovada. They are the ones that flew both myself and Gavin out here to allow us to document this whole experience. So please do go check them out. Shout out Bovada. Thank you so much for sending us out here. All right, as you guys can see, it is nighttime, but we just ran into one of the locals and we told him what we're doing here, just kind of documenting the Bills and Miami Dolphins experience. And he told us, because it's such a big divisional rivalry, that we need to go check out the Bills hub. They have a bar here called the Elbow Room, world famous Elbow Room bar, where I guess Buffalo Bills fans have just taken over, and it becomes their hub every time that the Bills are here in Fort Lauderdale. So we're gonna go check that out to see if it's Bill Mafia packed. All right, here's the confusing thing. This is supposed to be a home game for the Miami Dolphins. We're here to document this whole experience. I'm in the middle of Fort Lauderdale. It's super busy, and I'm not seeing a single Miami Dolphins fan. I am surrounded by Bills fans, and that's a bad look on the Dolphins fan base. What is going on here? All right, so we did make it to the elbow room. It is just entirely way too packed. They weren't kidding. This is all Bills fans. They have absolutely taken over. It is Bills Mafia Central for sure. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you inside because I'm just not gonna power my way through this, wait in lines, whatever it might be. Maybe later on in the night, I don't know. But as of right now, I'm making the executive decision to not go in there. All right, so here's my theory on all of this. My theory is that because this is the touristy area, the tourists are here, ergo the Buffalo Bills fans. I'm assuming when you go deeper into Fort Lauderdale, probably into Miami proper, it's probably Dolphin Central, because obviously the Dolphins are a massive franchise with a huge fan base. But if you're a Dolphins fan and your intention is to travel in to be a Dolphins fan, I don't know that Fort Lauderdale Beach is the place to be. It literally is all Bills fans right now.
It was time to go back to our hotel, but we did it in style. We paid for this service where this dude just takes you up and down the strip on a bicycle.
Thunder. Thunder. Thunder.
All right, so before we head over to the game, we're gonna get some breakfast real quick. We stopped at a place called S3. We just got our food, and it looks stunning. Look at that. Delicious eggs Benny. What is that?
That churro French toast.
The churro French toast, S3, and we're eating with a view. Check this out too. Okay, so we have a little bit of a conundrum. It seems to be incredibly difficult to get an Uber out of here. We had to wait about 45 minutes to be able to get an Uber. We finally have one, but we're gonna cut it close. We might actually, unfortunately, miss the tailgate. We'll see, because it's also like a pretty lengthy drive from here as well. So keep that in mind if you're staying by the beach. It's gonna be about a 30 to 40 minute Uber ride. So time yourself accordingly, but we'll see. Hopefully we can make it to see, at the very least, Bills Mafia breaking some tables. All right, so Gavin and I, we've made it. The stadium's like right over there. We're having to walk about 10 minutes. The Ubers can't really drop you off like at the stadium because everything is blocked off. So keep that in mind as well. I think if I were to give you advice, if you were looking to come to Fort Lauderdale to a Miami Dolphins game, is maybe consider, like, if you're really here purely for the game, not just the experience of like Fort Lauderdale, the beach, all that stuff, there is a collection of stadium specific hotels that are probably cheaper, honestly, than staying near the ocean, that allow you to be a handful of minutes away from all the action of the game. The problem is that there's nothing to do around here after the game or before the game. Just kind of keep that in mind. So we're only about 10 minutes away from kickoff, and there's still people out here raging, tailgating. I don't think they're gonna make it in time for kickoff, but we are. But yeah, pretty cool to see that the tailgate just rocks right through to kickoff. So we're in the stadium. Unfortunately, we really weren't able to document much, if any, of the tailgating just because of the circumstances with taking so long to get an Uber and then how long it took to get here. So yeah, it is what it is. We're gonna go to our seats. We got some pretty decent seats. Can't wait to show it to you guys. But while we're in the stadium, we're also gonna go into like the shops and stuff and just gonna show you what there might be to do or buy here at Hard Rock Stadium.
we got to our seats at the perfect time, and our seats just happened to be right at the team tunnel so that we could see the home team, the Miami Dolphins, making their entrances as each of them got announced on the loudspeaker. The vibes were good. The atmosphere was electric. Even if the stadium, it wasn't even halfway filled at this point, I'm glad that we were able to come in as early as we did just to see this portion of all of the pregame rituals. Also, our seats are absolutely unbelievable. So again, a huge shout out to Bovada for hooking us up and making sure that we had some of the best seats in the house.
So the very first play of the game is going to be a Miami false start, even though they're at home. But it doesn't feel like they're at home because that entire side of the stadium seems to be mostly Bills fans.
I took a break from the game and started walking around Hard Rock Stadium. I wanted to find a nameless jersey, but I couldn't find one, so I ended up settling and buying this Miami 305 shirt. One of the weirder things that I found walking around was this arepa de chocolo stand, which is just so bizarre to see such a niche Latin American food inside of an NFL stadium, which I needed to try because I used to have these all the time as a kid, and I needed to see if it brought back the memories.
Right back to the mountains of Colombia. I know this is silly to get excited for, but I've never seen canned Gatorade. I typically at a game, I'd be getting like a beer or something, but it is just so unbearably hot at our seats that the last thing I want in me right now is alcohol. So canned Gatorade it is for now. It's still just so hot out there. I had to go get myself a little bit of that shaved ice, mango, grape. This will hit the spot. So one of the things I've always wanted to try at a stadium is Dippin' Dots. I've heard of them. I hear specifically Americans rave about them. I've never seen them at a Canadian sporting event, so now we're gonna try it. This is ultimate brownie batter. Dude, not delicious. It's like ice cream, but it's like rocks.
Absolutely.
Do you have these?
Yeah, I have. They're really good. I like the savory ones. I mean, the sweet ones, sorry.
They're good.
Hell yeah.
So, got a little bit wet out there. It started to rain. It's not like enough to where the game's ruined or they might cancel the game or anything like that. But it's enough for me to want to get out of it. If it was a Chargers game, I'd probably be sticking it out. But, you know, I don't have any particular passion for either team. So, I'd rather just find some shelter and get dry real quick. I hope it goes away though, because I do want to go back out there. It's almost like overcompensating though, because it was like super hot.
I know.
And then all of a sudden, here's a little bit of piss from the sky. A little sprinkle.
Sammy Spinks.
Right, now I don't feel that bad that we got out. Like everyone is getting out of their seats. You probably can't tell, but it's pouring out there. We maybe called it quits early, but I think it ended up being a prudent, wise decision. I guess if you are traveling into Miami, just know that this is a hazard of the area. I mean, I guess it's a hazard for any stadium that you're going to that doesn't have a roof. So, yeah, I guess keep that in mind.
It turns out that the guy in the last clip wasn't kidding, because the Bills really did get their asses kicked, and they came on the road as heavy favorites on Bovada, but Josh Allen just simply couldn't do anything. He couldn't find any time in the pocket. The Miami defense somehow looked like they were an elite Super Bowl unstoppable force, and the Bills, who have one of the best offenses in the league, couldn't even get more than 3 scores on this Miami Dolphins team. It really was a shocker to see this game ultimately play out the way that it did. I don't even think that the Miami Dolphins faithful really believed that the Dolphins were going to win this game, especially with one of the first plays of the game having been an interception.
So folks, that's it for Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills. Miami Dolphins pulling out a pretty ridiculous upset. I couldn't believe the complete ass whooping that they put on the Bills. But that isn't even the biggest beatdown. The biggest beatdown is the one that we're suffering right now, just trying to get out of here. All right. And this is something you should know if you're traveling in to watch a Miami Dolphins game, or literally any event at the Hard Rock Stadium, because this is not my first time at Hard Rock. I was here for Copa America final, Colombia in Argentina, and it's an absolute nightmare to be able to get an Uber. Just keep that in mind. And it is also very expensive. You are going to find people just posting themselves like on the sidewalk, trying to hustle you to give you rides, and they charge you an obscene amount of money. You just have to walk really far away, like we have, to like a semi-residential area, and then you can order an Uber, because it won't let you order an Uber if you're too close to the stadium. We had to walk like a solid mile and a half just to be able to call an Uber. So keep that in mind, and be ready to get your steps in to get an Uber.
And that's it for our experience in Fort Lauderdale, ladies and gentlemen. It's hard to not have a great time when it is Fort Lauderdale, when it is sunny, when there is a beach right there, and when there are a lot of great local businesses and establishments to be able to visit right at walking distance. Really, the only thing I didn't like from the experience was just how difficult it was to get around. Genuinely give yourself a ton of time to be able to get to the game and to get out of the game as well, because it really is disorganized as to how Fort Lauderdale does their Ubers in and out of the stadium. I really wish that we were able to get there to see the tailgating experience, because we didn't get to see much of it, if any at all. We got to see like the very end of it, but I don't feel like that is the proper Miami Dolphins tailgating experience, and I wish I got to see the Buffalo Bills on the road tailgating experience as well. But overall, I do have to give the experience a thumbs up. It's tough to give it a thumbs down when it's sunny Florida at the end of the day. But we'll leave it there, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing my experience in Fort Lauderdale at the Bills and Dolphins game. If there's any more places that you'd like to see me visit, if you'd like me to visit your local team, please let me know, because we're traveling all over North America with these. But take care. Goodbye. Get out of here.